Wilt shot the fadeaway. Wilt shot a finger roll. Wilt did not go in and bump and dislodge people. That was not his game.
And I thought, quite frankly, that he was more of a finesse player than a power player. And yet, when he did turn on the power and exert that physical presence, he was unstoppable.
Wilt just wanted to be left alone and scores 50 points. You know, he was a powerful man. You never wanted to make him mad.
Cliff, you can remember as well as I back when we were playing that Chamberlain was a much younger man. If you got him riled, school was out. You could score 60 to 100 on you without any problem. You want to get the big guys to be mad.
I tell you one thing, Wilt Chamberlain is a very angry man right now.
Chamberlain with the rebound, put. Russell had his hands on the ball. Chamberlain forced it through. A remarkable shot on a fine defensive play. I noticed you were shaking your head, Freddie Shouse, when Russell partially blocked the shot and Chamberlain forced it through.
He's just so powerful, Marty. We have our own Gene Wiley has done that several times where Chamberlain is just so powerful. He just comes right down and forces the ball through.
His physical prowess was unbelievable. I would love to see him play against some of these centers today. It would be pretty embarrassing for them, to be candid with you.
Wilt Chamberlain is so strong that he can get it up there with anyone hanging on him.
Total dominance of the game, and that's the kind of player he was. Wilt would have something to prove, and he would absolutely go out and do it. Amazing.
What about the aggressiveness? Did Wilt try to put a muscle game on you?
Wilt's very strong. I can't stop him on the basket. He make up his mind, so, well, I think I'm going to score this ball this time. He'll take me and the ball to the basket if he have to do it.
You know Wayne Emery is? When he played about 275 or 280. He used to be on Wilt's arm, going up for a dunk. Wilt would say to him, "What floor you getting off, big fella, before I dunk you in the ball?"
Chamberlain would really slam it down with tremendous force.
They called me for a foul and saying, well, you used your arm to ward off Chamberlain. I said, are you freaking joking with me? I said, I could be on the ground with two hands and I couldn't ward Chamberlain off.
It's called a broken arm if he gets away.
He was the greatest athlete I think that's ever lived. The strongest man that's ever played this game.
I don't think as a player, it's a strength of Wilt.
The strongest basketball player that ever lived.
They always said he was by far the strongest person who's ever played the NBA.
Absolutely. I mean, he lifted me up like with one arm like nothing. He was so powerful. He came to the gym and he would do a tricep extension that the big guys, the strongest guys, would do, let's say, 120 pounds. He would come and he would do 150, 170 pounds. That's how strong he was.
Chamberlain gets away from Bowman.
A quick turn to his left in the drive to the hoop.
Slam dunk.
Takes it in, gets Reed up. He did a number on Reed that time. He had Willis popping. I think Reed was expecting a finger roll. And that was not exactly a finger roll.
He's not going to really do anything.
Chamberlain, slam dunk.
That leads by 4. 85-81.
Chamberlain again underneath. Great shot by Chamberlain.
With me favoring the East and they're letting their feelings known. Chamberlain of the West.
I was doing an interview the other day, and we were talking about Wilt Chamberlain averaging 50 points a game. Then at the end of the interview, the guy said, Oscar, do you think Wilt Chamberlain could play in this game today? At that point, I said, you know what? Excuse my French. I said, don't just show me you don't know basketball. You have to ask me that. To ask me whether or not Wilt Chamberlain could play against these guys today, that was an insult.
You're leaning on him hard. He'd move you back 3 or 4 or 5 feet, and you never took a step. All it did was just take the bottom off your Converse All-Star sneakers. They didn't last very long playing against Wilt. You just run the rubber right off the bottom of those shoes.
Surprise. But when you're that big, I think you want to make that one tough and close.
Chamberlain rebound. Missed it. Up again. I think he intended to make that one.
Fires it. Dips in and comes out. No good. Great rebound by Wilt. Slam dunk.
Wilt was coming right back at him, rooting, using all that strength that he's got. He's a big one.
Fans here in Hershey are asking, how many does Chamberlain have? He has 75. He's already broken his own record. He's going from there to man. Here we go with Bill. We're just conjecturing here. How many can he make? He's got 9 minutes and 24 seconds left, and the guesses are running as high as 100. Game at Hershey PA tonight. Chamberlain, 32 field goals, 25 foul shots, 89 points. Records are falling left and right. Here we go, Bill. Another record has just fallen. Howard.
As the all-time high scorer of the league, Wilt sets records every time he plays.
You know, it's impossible to describe. There was no way of stopping him. He could shoot and score by dunking the ball every time he wanted to.
You could see the power. He was strong. He could spread out, and he could hold the position. You couldn't push him around. Wilt was probably the most powerful, strongest athlete that I've ever met.
Wilt dominated the game as nobody ever has since. People always ask me, who's the greatest player you've ever seen? Well, Wilt was certainly the most dominant.
Far and away the best player I've ever played against. For a number of reasons. First of all, physically he was still the most imposing physical player that ever played this league, period. There's no one who's come close to him in terms of just physical prowess.
The lineup, Happy Hurston, knocked loose, Hurston back, Chamberlain slam dunk.
Chamberlain on a great pass by West.
And the first dunk that he had, I looked at those cables and they were rocking back and forth because he had so forcefully put that ball in the basket.
Recklick told me after the game, he said, I felt like a junior high kid trying to play against a professional. He said, I was afraid of having him smash my face when he dunked the ball.
So, Doc, I'll ask you, who's the greatest dunker of all time? You can qualify this any way you want. You could do in dunk contests, in-game dunks. I mean, and don't be bashful. If it's you, we can certainly understand.
No. Well, I think Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, you know, the 30,000 points that he scored, different than Dominique, who shot a whole lot of jump shots. A lot of them were dunk shots. And, you know, people really don't give Wilt enough credit, and the big guys like Shaq and Kareem enough credit or enough conversation. You know, it's almost like the NBA started in 1990 instead of 1946. But Wilt, you know, he posted numbers when he retired. He was the greatest scorer of all time, and he imposes his will night in and night out. And he can dunk from outside the lane.
And I actually saw this, and I think to this day people don't believe it. But he wasn't at the top of the circle, but he was about 3 steps behind it on a free throw, and he ran to the free throw line, took off, and dunked the ball.
Wilt and Shaq. It'll be interesting because I think Shaq powerfully built. Wilt was strong up top. But Wilt just went lane of flippers and dunks and whatnot. You just couldn't keep him out from underneath the basket.
Listen, how would you play Shaquille O'Neal, a player like Shaquille O'Neal?
You know, first of all, you just find the things that he does the worst, and those are the things you try to make him do the most.
As they call fouls today, you know, Shaq gets away with what I would consider murder.
So they let him go.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that when you dip your shoulder and you're another type of guy and the foul's called on the guy laying on the floor, you know you're getting away with something. So Shaq is allowed maybe to score some points that maybe he wouldn't get. He plays an entirely different type of basketball game. He uses his physicality. He's a big, strong young man, and that works well in today's game. If he was facing me, and not so good. I mean, I'm a guy bench pressing around 600 pounds. I'm gonna say that my
600 pounds?
Yeah.
Wilt would take Shaquille O'Neal and move him around like he was a rag doll. Do you know who Bob Lanier is? Bob Lanier is 6'11", played at 280 and 290.
You know, the first time I went up against Wilt, I was in Detroit, and I'm pushing him. Wilt turns around, picks me up like I'm a little coffee cup, and moves me out the way and says, son, don't do that no more.
Low post, behind the circle, it goes to Baylor, left side, shoots, not good, rebound, free ball, Chamberlain puts it in.
How would you fare against today's centers?
At 30, I could probably average 60 or 70.
70. Average 70 against these guys.
He probably averaged 75 a game if we were playing today. You know why I say that? Because you can't put your hand on guys. When I played, you could hand check them. Now you can't hand check them. So it's much more difficult to stop players that way.
But wait a minute, what about against the Elijah ones?
He's quicker than I am, but I believe I'm faster than he is, or was at one time.
3-on-1 break. One of them is Chamberlain. They shovel it to Adles. Adles up with the ball to Chamberlain. Chamberlain scores. Different gun. 3-on-1 break, and Rogers waited for him. Adles throwing a lot pass, and Chamberlain stuffed it.
Pass Erickson, low post against Bradley. Tries to hook, lays off to Chamberlain, who stuffs it in. He's going to the basket.
Pick for Archie Clark. Inside to Chamberlain on a pick and roll, and bang.
There's Chamberlain underneath, and he dunks it.
and the greatest center to ever play the game, bar none. I mean, I love, you can talk about Kareem, and you can talk about Shaq, and you talk about Hakeem Olajuwon, and there's no one that is close to what Wilt Chamberlain did.
Up in the air, no, rebound McMillan, ball pass to Chamberlain, all alone, here's Clemens. Chamberlain for once got a breakaway. Watch this now, as it is cleared by McMillan, Jimmy spots him and loops it deep. At this point, don't get in the way.
Best center, Russell or Chamberlain? Chamberlain. Best player ever, Michael Jordan or LeBron James or someone else?
Wilt Chamberlain.
Really?
90. Here's a guy, hasn't played in 40 years, still has 90-some records on the books.